Hello and welcome to CIO News. I am Khushbu Soni, your host for the broadcast and editor-chief at CIO News. This is our exclusive fireside chat powered by Goto. It is a recorded session and will be available on our website, that is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. It is my pleasure to invite our guest for today. We have Mr. Kumar Heramba Naik, the Associate Vice President ICT, a Chief Information Officer and Chief Security Officer as well in Trl Krosaki Refractories Limited. Um, Mr. Kumar is an ICT professional having 22 plus years of experience in manufacturing ICT domain and has rich experience in establishing a strong business ICT alignment and implementations. Uh, Sir has digital transformation expertise, has worked on various initiatives, which includes Microsoft technologies, SAP S/4HANA, Success Factors, CRM, Industry 4.0, data center, cloud, and many more. Mr. Kumar is an ISMS and a cybersecurity strategy leader and has worked on various, many more custom solutions as well. Mr. Kumar, it's an absolute pleasure to have you today, and I'm really looking forward to have this discussion with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Khushbu, for giving me an opportunity to be part of this interaction. Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm also accompanied by Triveni Rabindraraj, the India sales head at Goto. Triveni has 21 plus years of experience across various domains such as business development, strategic alliances, people management. Triveni has worked with various brands such as Wipro, Citi, Dun& Bradstreet, and many more. Triveni, pleasure to have you again.
Thanks, Khushbu. Thanks, Mr. Kumar. Looking forward to some great discussions. Thank you.
Awesome. So I wanted to begin this interaction with putting across the first question to you, Mr. Kumar. So just wanted to understand, post the COVID now things are getting back to normal. We are living our normal lives now at office, at home. So how has the working changed in your organization, and how is it like a hybrid working, and also because it's a manufacturing company, uh, how did it affect? How is it now working? If you can share some insights to start a conversation.
Right. So, as we are aware that there has been a big impact of COVID-19, which has led to partly work from home, partly work from office, and in fact, this has widened the distributed workforce with the highly distributed workforce. Right? The impact has increased cyber attacks by almost 300%.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, the support of remote users also has increased the IT workload by almost 40% due to the high utilization of VPN, the video conferencing systems, bandwidth constraints that we have because we are in a very remote locations, password reset requests very often, and various messaging issues.
Okay.
So, however, I believe in do more with less, and technology has a big role to play here. So the selection of right technology and empowering the central IT team with the best in class IT tools related to ITSM or maybe remote management solutions or particularly employee self-service solutions have enabled with ease of use and timely support with minimum interruptions. Because as you know, when employees start working from different locations, and not
Right.
only different locations within the company, but from their own homes, it becomes very, very challenging to give them a very robust platform to seamlessly work and interact with all the peers.
Right.
So that makes us, setting up a robust connectivity between all the branch offices, the corporate offices, even there are connectivity issues in the homes, so we need to sort it out by one way or the other. That is where there are technologies such as BGP with autonomous system numbers for multi-ISP connectivity and maybe software-defined wide area network technologies are the need of the hours, which ensures robust connectivity and ensures high availability to all the branch offices to ensure that the collaborative solutions run uninterrupted 24 into 7.
Right. Right, absolutely. I think you very rightly mentioned about today's distributed workforce, right? And it has become very imperative for all the technology leaders and CIOs to scale up and arm their IT teams with right tools. So, wanted to understand, is your IT help desk fully empowered and to provide the fast and efficient support for the current flexible way of working and even for the future?
Right. Yes, because as I told you, do more with less. And we need to also ensure work-life balance to the IT support engineers. That is why it is very important on the part of the CIO to enable them with the right technology, which will give scalability, reliability, and uninterrupted operations for serving to all the employees. So it is important to enable them with the right technology and with the right kind of training and adoption practices that is required. So, as I told, I mean, you can't be more dependent on humans. Rather, you need to depend on some level of automation which are required, and that too. When I'm talking about automation, it is all about intelligent automation, and self-service mechanisms could help to a large extent to ensure that the work-life balance of the IT support engineers are taken care of. So it is important for them to empower with the right technology, right tools, right platform to help them, minimize the interruptions and maximize the, innovative solutions to ensure that proactive support is given so that the downtime is reduced to a large extent. That is what is the need of the hour.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. To that, Triveni, you've been interacting with a lot of CIOs and technology leaders on the similar topic. So, wanted to get your, hearings that you've got. What should be, the top priorities when considering remote support solutions? What are the biggest challenges that you've heard versus what are the top priorities that you say for evaluating remote support solutions?
Yeah, I think in terms of the challenges, right, I think Mr. Kumar has very well articulated, I think almost all the challenges that we've been hearing, right? Some of the top three challenges what I have personally heard from interacting with the IT heads like him. The first and foremost is obviously because of the highly distributed workforce, which was previously completely remote. Now it is hybrid, and I think agnostic of the industry, it's going to be hybrid largely across, right? That's not going away anywhere. That's going to stay. So, which means that like he rightly said, the work needs to continue to be seamless, right? Like as though it was happening within the perimeter of office. So that brings technology as the central focus for any kind of an industry, right? Any industry is now completely dependent on the technology that a company uses. One is that. The second one is what has emerged out very strongly is that being connected with one another, right? Being connected with your employees, or your employees connected with your customers, has come as the number one thing that has kept all the companies going, and that again is because of the technology, right? And the third thing, like he rightly mentioned, the because of these people being high, the distributed workforce, using personal devices or BYODs, that has completely, or using even sometimes private network, or public network also, because people are using working from co-working spaces nowadays quite a bit. It has put
Yeah.
a lot of emphasis on security, and we have rightly seen all the big names, being hacked, right? The really really big names whom probably we would have never imagined. And one of the reasons for the hack has been an involvement of a human element, right? It could be compromised password, or responding to phishing emails and things like that. So right now the challenge that the technology leaders are going through, which is not confined to the CISOs, is how do you ensure that the technology works, which is with high security. So which means it is bringing to one particular topic, which is how can you ensure that the connections are seamless and safe and secure. And because now this is heavily dependent on technology, it's also putting a lot of stress. Almost like we did a survey with Frost and Sullivan during this pandemic and last year as well. One thing that emerged out is that the workload of IT has gone up by 80% for the especially the internal IT team, right? But that's the kind of workload that's happening. And the second thing is that the great resignation, right? I think we've all seen last year being I think the churn has also increased, and specifically in the same survey, what we saw was that almost specifically in the IT support technicians, the attrition has gone up to 80%. Earlier, the industry standards was about 30%. It had gone up to 80%. So all this giving a lot of issues within the manpower, etc. Right? Which means what is important is how are you enabling as a company, by giving them the right set of technologies tools. Because today what's happening also is there are a lot of free tools available in the market, right? And obviously the technicians are tempted to use it if they are not provided with the right technology, etc. So one thing that is extremely critical, specifically when looking at the remote support solution, is it has to be highly secure, right? Security standards have become very, very high. Like I remember selling the same solution 2 years ago, that is before the pandemic. Security was the last thing that was asked, right? It was more like a check in the box. People would just, CIOs would just like talk about what is the security architecture. But today we are starting our on conversation with that. So that has become a lot of that's gained a lot of importance, which a lot of free tools don't offer. Secondly, we are seeing surprisingly, Khushbu, that a lot of companies are using meeting tools like the one that we are on, which is Goto Meeting, to do remoting. Now that also poses a lot of security threat, because you're talking about remoting into the others, this the computer. The second thing is a lot of companies also are ISO certified, or things, a lot of those security standards make a lot of difference, which by using the meeting tool as a remote support will not suffice, because there are no any audit trails, etc. Right. The other thing is also looking at how simple is your tool to use, right? Because if it is not simple, then the adoption of that tool is going to be extremely critical. How well can the technicians get ready with using those tool, or get are more probably self sufficient to use the tool. So these are some things which we have seen has become very important over the last 2 years.
Great, great, Triveni. Thank you for sharing that with us. On that, my question to you is, Mr. Kumar. We understand having a tool with the right priorities met is one half of the challenge, and the other half is, driving enough adoption to meet those ROI standards. So, what are your driving forces when it comes to achieving optimal ROI of the solutions?
That's a very good questions, and that is really the challenge, in fact. So, what we have undertaken in our organization is that whenever we select and before deployment, we follow certain guidelines. First and foremost is the being the proof of concept to get a first-hand information about the solution, and in the process we do the assessment of the capability of the solution. That is very important in terms of reliability, scalability, and the robustness of the solutions depending upon the business requirements. Number two is once the POC is successful, we used to do the POC for all these shortlisted solutions for the evaluation, and then we move on to a training and kind of awareness programs for the IT support engineers, because ultimately they are the people who are going to use it and then deploy it at the employee locations. Third is there has to be an enforcement policy in place, because we can't just wait and watch for a long time. This has to be enforced. Either it has to be enforced administratively or through some kind of group policy, technically speaking. In fact, there are multiple tools through Active Directory or LDAP and some other solutions. We can push the policy forward, and that has to be enforced, because ultimately organization has taken a stand, organization has taken a decisions to implement the solution, and that has to be enforced without any exceptions. Last but not the least, in fact, there is always a scope for improvement. So you need to have the feedback mechanism in place to take feedback from the users on a continuous basis on the usability of the solutions, and then improve upon it on a continuous basis. So doing the POC, conducting training and awareness, enforcement, and continuous improvement are the key points for ensuring that I mean, those are the driving forces to ensure that the solution is fully adopted in the organizations.
Absolutely. I think very rightly pointed out the points that needs to be considered for optimal adoption of any tools or technologies. On that, Triveni, you also spoke about security, right? And now that we know security is the top most priority for every organization, right? So, what are the standards by which an IT support tool should adhere to meet those security standards as per you?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple of things that we can look at when evaluating the remote support tool from a security lens, right? The first one would be, what are the kind of connection methods that is available, because what we have seen is, whatever hacks have happened because of or during a remote support session has been because of the way the remote support has been the connection has been initiated, right? So that is very important to see how secure are the connection methods. For example, even in a lot of remote support tools, you will have to start a remote support session from a third party website, which could be the vendor website, right? So that could definitely potentially not be so secure. So having the connection initiation hosted on your intranet, does your remote support tool offer customization like that, would be one thing. The other thing is also to look at, how is it possible for you to put in certain checks and controls, like, restricted IP access, restricted domain access, looking at some self-hosted pin page. Those kind of stuff definitely will be important, while evaluating. The other thing is the data protection, right? In terms of the remote support tool should be able to use single sign-on, like we were discussing, right? A lot of a lot of employees are, 50% are remote, 50% are in the office. So it is important to identify the person who is sort of signing in, right? So it is important for you to look at authentication. So does your remote support tool offer two-factor, or now we are talking about multi-factor authentication? Can it be hosted on single sign-on page? The other thing is the industry standard level of encryption is 26-bit AES encrypted. So that is something that every remote support tool must adhere to. So that is something that one can look at, and the other one is the compliance, because the compliance capabilities will only become more important as data privacy regulations, etc., emerge out in India, but which is already there in across the globe. So the remote support tool should be designed to not, that only captures information which is required, right? In fact, I mean, just to give you an example, in fact, we have many customers who use our solution because of our ability to remove any PII or PHI kind of a data. So we have, and also the other one is you need to have controls to ensure, GDPR, and like in a medical field, the HIPAA compliance, etc. So these are some of the things that you could look at from a security angle.
Great, fantastic. I think our conversation has been really exciting so far. But considering the time, I just have one last question before we end today's episode for Mr. Kumar. So, if you can share top best practices or any learnings or experience for our CIO viewers through this interview, that would be great.
Yeah, so sticking to the topic that you have given to us for a discussion, basically the remote support solutions. In fact, the principle that ICIO, all CIOs must look at is prevention is better than cure. Okay, in the world of VUCA, things are changing very very fast. There are changes which are happening in the culture, in the organization, in the technology front. So it is important to note that we must take certain actions which will prevent the problem before it occurs. So that is one principle which I used to follow. Second is proactiveness is better than reactiveness. In fact, there are multiple ways because managing IT infrastructure, which is a very complex thing to do in the today's world, because security is one of the angle which is very very challenging to manage because threats are becoming sophisticated. There are multiple threats which are coming from multiple directions. Okay, even manufacturing industry are also one of the top five industries. If you look at FireEye threat map, you'll find that manufacturing industry is coming top five rated industry where the cyber attacks are increasing day by day. So, on one hand, you need to ensure that you are giving the best in tool to your employees to do their day-to-day job. On one hand, on the other hand, we need to go one step ahead of the business. If the business is thinking one step, the IT has to think two steps ahead. So adopting the new technology before business advises you to do or the board advises you to do, you must think through and make it ready so that the moment business starts talking about, you have already implemented to some extent for that particular solutions. That is one. Second is that uh, implementation of best practices is very very important because best practices makes you quite satisfying in terms of implementation of the good processes because it's all about people, process, and technology. So if you look at cyber security, for example, I'm saying now the question is that what is the process that you need to follow to ensure that your cyber security is strengthened in your organization. You need to look at the people aspect. The people, they need to be aware of the latest technology trends, the latest cyber security threats, and they need to be trained, and then the awareness need to be created among them that they what they should do, the what they should not do. From the technology standpoint, you need to implement a layer of technology, different layers of technology like perimeter security or endpoint security or email security or web security, etc. So this is part of the technology. From a process standpoint, you need to adopt certain standards like ISO 27000 or PCI DSS or some other standards, GDPR. So these are all a combination of all aspects or the good practices across the globe, and try to adapt those practices and implement in organizations. And last but not the least is leadership in adopting new technology, driving business to grow. That is very very important because leadership plays an important role here. So you need to keep abreast with the latest technology, what is happening in terms of artificial intelligence. Now Industry 4.0 is coming in a big way. I mean, the people have started adopting Industry 4.0. So in the age of Industry 4.0, we cannot have the mindset of Industry 3.0. And data analytics is going to play a major role. Data will give you the insight will give you the foresight, so that you can predict the future, you can prescribe the future, and then take necessary actions to ensure that your business is sustained and business can grow very fast with the technology that you are providing to the organizations.
Great. I think fantastic points mentioned with along with the use cases. It's good to end our discussion with great information. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your valuable experience and learnings with us. Thank you, Triveni, for taking out time and joining us on the platform.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.